What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Thanks for tuning in. Today in this video, guys, I want to talk to you guys about the Ankh price, like Anchor Protocol, and like what the snap? Why do we have so much vertical accumulation going on? Well, you're going to be pleasantly surprised after this video, and you'll be like, what the snap? That is crazy. There is actually a full recording. I don't know how long it's going to be on Twitter Spaces, but I retweeted it so you guys can find this tweet here. It's just from Anchor Protocol. So make sure you guys give them a follow. Anchor Protocol is like fire sauce. It's Do Kwon's baby. But anyways, what is up with Anchor Protocol? Well, they sum it up directly here in this tweet. Retrograde Money posted a proposal to the Anchor Governance Forum to upgrade the Ankh tokenomics model. Retrograde is a new protocol similar to Convex on ETH, building on Terra, that will be ushering a new governance structure and working closely with Astroport and Anchor. The TLDR on this tweet is what they're going to be doing is similar to Curve, how they have different gauges. They're going to implement a VE token model, but for a lending protocol. Instead of like a swapper like Curve, they're going to do this for a lending protocol. To see what this looks like, 100 Finance actually does an example, or actually does this in general, so you guys can see what it looks like. What the proposal is mentioning is instead of like you have BETH or B Luna, B Atom soon, X or B Sol, whatever you want to call it, in these yield bearing assets, they're going to split them up into gauges. So like if you lend out, let's just use BETH for an example, because it's easier just to keep it like that. We're just going to say BETH. If I lend out my BETH, they're going to split this up into a gauge where the Ankh governance token holders, they're going to have to lock their tokens up, aka the VE token model. They're going to have to lock their tokens, and they can vote on these different gauges. They could say, hey, we want to vote on the BETH gauge that they get 45% of your current emissions. Or, well, they can't just say 45%, but you guys get the point. Like, they want to get a lot of the Ankh supply so they can control a large amount. Because if I have 10% of the supply and I vote on my BETH gauge, that means I'm going to get 10% of the emissions, typically. Because I own 10% of it. It's not fully like that because not everyone votes, and there are some tokens that are not emitted out. But TLDR is the more Ankh tokens you hold, the more voting power you have, as long as you lock them up in the VE model. And this is the model that they're trying to take. And instead of catering to the DeFi degen or the DeFi user, they're actually catering to the protocols similar to like Lido Finance. This caters to them because Lido Finance is creating a service of, hey, give us your ETH or give us your Luna and we will give you this liquid staked asset. And they're incentivized to do that because they're getting a percentage of the staking APRs. They're charging a commission. So the more volume they do, the more money they make. And me personally, if I go out there and I get one of these liquid stake tokens and I can't use it anywhere, I don't want that junk. Like, I literally don't. I'll go somewhere else. Someone like Lido Finance would be incentivized to buy the Ankh token. Because with this protocol upgrade, what will happen is you now have these gauges. And Lido Finance can say, hey, look, I need to get more emissions to the BETH so I can incentivize lending to BETH. So we're going to go buy a bunch of Ankh tokens. So we can say, yeah, let's go ahead and incentivize this. Let's say we need all the emissions here. So what's going to happen is they're going to get more Ankh tokens. And when they get more Ankh tokens, they're going to be able to vote. And you guys get the flywheel junk. You guys understand how it rolls. The whole reason behind this proposal is to make the Anchor protocol more sustainable. Let me explain to you what I mean. If you go over onto this borrow section, when you guys are borrowing any of these against any of these different tokens, like you guys can see here, I'm on the testnet, so you guys can see it. This is the AVAX token. In order to get tokens against my SAVAX, what I'm going to need to do is I can go to Lido or any of the protocols that offer this liquid staked asset. I deposit my AVAX over there, and I now get this staked asset. Now, depending on who it's going to be, obviously that's different, but I'd assume this is probably going to be with Lido. Time will tell. We'll see what happens, but there's several other protocols working on it. As you can see here, there is a net APR. This net APR is being paid out with the ANK governance token. So theoretically, they're paying nothing for all of these tokens that are being deposited. They aren't paying you UST. They're paying you their farming token, the governance token, which is ANK. And that's how the APRs are denominated. So if the ANK price is $1 and we get 46% APR, if that cuts to 50 cents, that means my APR is now 23%. And that doesn't even factor in the repercussions of people like, I'm not going to borrow anymore because this is junk, which will then cause further depreciation of the treasury in order to pay the yields because less people are borrowing. It's a reflexive coin. You want people borrowing against this protocol because that's how the Anchor protocol makes money. On the back end, they're over collateralizing your loan. They're taking the yield that they're earning from these assets like BETH, BLUNA, SAVAX, and soon BATOM, and they're taking the yield that they earn from it and they're dumping it in order to fill the UST reserve on this earn page. So this is how they're able to pay the 20% APY. Currently, right now, it is not sustainable. Do Kwon just filling it up. I mean, that's sweet. Like, fill her up, baby. Have fun. I love it. But that's not sustainable. You want to create a protocol that has the flywheel effect and has the sustainability. And with more assets and restructuring the tokenomics, this will create this flywheel, in my opinion. This is why you're seeing the crazy price action on ANK right now. A lot of people are trying to front run the opportunity and realizing this proposal is getting out there. So what a lot of protocols are possibly doing is buying a bunch of the ANK token. And yes, there's probably going to be some speculators, just like retail, just like these protocols, they're going to buy so much of this junk. I'm just going to buy it all and then I'm going to dump it on them. Yeah, there's some people that are going to do it, but there's people legitimately needing the ANK token so they can direct these incentives. Because if you go back to the tokens that you can borrow against, what would I be more incentivized to do? If BETH is going to pay me a net APR of 10% if I borrow against it, or SAVAX, I'm going to have to pay 10% to borrow, what am I more incentivized to do? Well, obviously deposit BETH because, dude, it's going to pay me to borrow. Like, why would I do SAVAX if I'm going to pay 10% to borrow this junk? And that's where it goes back to the protocol buying the ANK token. This incentivizes the user to buy whatever token, the yield-bearing asset that they have. So if my protocol, let's say it's Lido and it's not, so we're going to call it Draco. If people want to come to Draco and I'm issuing a asset called Drake ETH, which is a yield-bearing asset by 10%, but there's no use case for it because there's nothing out there in DeFi, people aren't going to want to have it. And if there is a use case for it, and Drake ETH pays you 10% when you deposit on Anchor, or you can use Lido and get their BETH, and you pay 10% to borrow against it, which one's going to be used? Are people going to use BETH or Drake ETH? Well, people are going to use Drake ETH because it's the same thing. Like, people see it as the same thing. It's really not. But still, they see it as a pegged asset. They're already taking the initiative to swap their actual ETH for a pegged asset. So we can go ahead and just get rid of that argument. They're going to choose Drake ETH because if they deposit Drake ETH on Anchor, they're going to earn a 10% yield for borrowing against it. They're still going to earn the yield on their ETH. And they're going to be happy because they got some UST. They can then deposit it over an Anchor protocol or use it in DeFi anywhere they want. So that is the argument. That's the case. This is why, in my opinion, Anchor is pumping due to some of the tokenomics restructuring. So the VE Ank. Now, there are other little protocol mentions like, hey, we should also make it to where if you have over $100,000 in UST, then you have to get a certain amount of ANK to get the 20% yield. But if not, you're going to get 10%. It's okay. It does mess with the fungibility though, because if you make one AUST that gives a 10% yield and another one that gives a 20% yield. It's just not fungible. You can't really have it like that. So it'll be a little more complicated to restructure something like that. But the TLDR on the price pump is because people are speculating the governance token restructuring. So like the tokenomics are going to be restructured. It's the same thing with Mirror Protocol. I'll show you guys a chart on Mirror Protocol. A lot of people are looking at like, oh, Mirror's about to pump, so we're up 65% today. Yeah, it's Do Kwon's baby. In my opinion, he's probably going to take care of it. I mean, time will tell. We'll see what happens. But he's looking at Mirror Protocol, or people are looking at Mirror Protocol like, what if they do the VE model? Time will tell. We'll see what happens. Same junk, different day. I made a tweet about this, and I've added Anchor Protocol. I actually want to hear what your guys' thoughts are, so if you guys can leave a comment in the description below. Correct me if I'm wrong. When Atom, like, hey Tom, whatever. Dude, that's such a habit, man. Gets enabled, this coin will be the most profitable for the protocol because it offers the highest staking yield. Currently, it's over 14%. So if there are going to be gauges on Anchor, I wonder if Ank governance token holders will vote for the Atom Vault. So like if I have Atom, I'm going to farm, get the Ank, and then I'm going to vote for the Atom Vault again to create that reflexive flywheel. So I'm going to keep buying Atom because I want to get those high APRs, and then I'm going to take my Ank token, stake it, and then I'm going to vote, and I'm going to say go to Ank, or not Ank, go to Atom. So you guys get that little reflexive flywheel. So I farm Ank, give it back to Ank, in order to farm more Ank and give it back to Ank, and I'm also depositing Atom on the back end. So we'll see. So to receive the most incentives, which will then cause the reflexive flywheel, just like I explained right there, for Atom, using it as collateral because it pays you to borrow. So like when I vote on the incentives, I'm actually going to be paid to borrow against my Atom, and Anchor will be incentivized to vote on that protocol or that pool because the BETH pool is paying like 6 or 7%, or Atom, which is paying 14% or over 14. Would you rather have something over 14 or 6 or 7%? I mean, you guys can do math. It's double the or over double the amount. You choose. So that's how you can understand it. I understand Anchor on the back end is dumping Atom to refill the UST vault, but will the rate at which it's being bought be outpaced by the dumpers? Because if you factor in, it's getting about 14% per year, which is the 14% that's going to be dumped, because obviously you can't dump the collateral. Is that going to be outpaced by the people buying it? Yes, it's actually going to be a little more than 14% because they over collateralize these vaults. So maybe it's going to be about 25%. But it's not out of the realm of possibility for people to speculate on that and be like, bruh, I need to buy some Atom because these yields are super high. And with higher yields, more people farming Ank, they want to boost up their Atom pool because when they boost up the Atom pool, they get more Ank rewards, which they deposit. And then other people see that I need to deposit more Atom because the rewards are super high. I'm farming more Ank, so I'm going to vote for more rewards to come to the Atom pool. You guys are getting that reflexive flywheel. This is just a speculation I have. I don't know if it will or not. But based on the Atom price action, time will tell. We'll see what happens. But yeah, this is just a thought. This is an update with Anchor Protocol. And if you guys stayed till the end, let me go ahead and give you guys that secret word. The very first word in that seed phrase, if you guys watched the other video, I was doing a $45,000 giveaway. The first word is lucky. So that's pretty ironic, but it actually is a lucky. I'm not joking about that. It's lucky. So that's the first word. You guys got to find the other 11 words. Good luck. If you guys fail, that's okay. I'll announce the second word in another video. I don't know when, so hopefully you guys have some fun. See you guys in the next one, and as always, let's leave you guys with a wisdom one-liner. You know we be at Proverbs chapter 18, verses 17. In a lawsuit, the first to speak seems right until someone comes forward and cross-examines. That's so true, man. You always think you're right until you hear the other argument, then you're like, bruh, yes, you're right. Thanks for tuning in, guys. We'll see you in the next one. You guys can also catch me on tweeters at Rent a Home Fast. Like literally, at Rent a Home Fast.